In this video, I'm going to talk about how vitamin B12 is not a concern exclusively just to vegans and how some of the other factors come into play when talking about vitamin B12. What's up guys, Tino here, aka Bananiac. I have a master's degree in nutrition and I post weekly videos on plant-based nutrition, fitness, and vegan lifestyle tips. So if you're new here, definitely subscribe. Today we're talking about vitamin B12 and how that is a hot topic regarding plant-based nutrition. And we're also chatting with Dr. Milton Mills, a medical doctor at the United Medical Center, and he was also featured in the film What the Health. Let's jump right into the interview and hear what he has to say. About vitamin B12. A lot of people kind of use this argument that we should not be on a plant-based diet. It's not in plants. What are your thoughts?
Next to what about your protein, they say, well, what about B12? Well, what about it? I mean, what about cancer? What about heart disease? What about autoimmune disease? What about diabetes? I mean, it's like you want to bring up B12. Our bodies only need like 1 microgram of B12 a day, the equivalent of that. Well, number one, the first thing that people need to understand, B12 is only made by bacteria. No plant, no animal makes B12. If you find B12 in animal tissues, it's because it's gotten it from a bacterial source ultimately. Well, if we were living in more natural environments, drinking unprocessed water and eating foods that we dug up out of the ground, because that food would have bacteria on it, it would have B12. There would be B12 in the water. But what do? We take our water and we process it, and we throw chlorine in it, we kill all the bacteria. We have eliminated the natural sources of B12 in our environment. So that's why we have to take it. It's kind of similar to the calciferol issue. Because we're always covered up and indoors, we can't make enough of our own calciferol, so we have to take a supplement. Well, because we've eliminated our exposure to bacteria, we have to take the supplement. But that has nothing to do with a problem with plant-based diet. That's an artifact of the way we live.
So there you have it, done. The vitamin B12 argument is simply not an argument against veganism. Yes, there is a small amount of vitamin B12 in animal products, but that comes with the carcinogenic protein, the saturated fat, cholesterol, and hormones, just to name a few. It is much safer to supplement vitamin B12 when considering all that. But Dr. Mills made an important point that vitamin B12 is not produced by animals or plants, but bacteria. Unfortunately, because of how we process our food and water, we're unable to consume it naturally as we would before the industrialization of our society. Plus, you realize you only need 2.5 micrograms of vitamin B12 per day. And just to put it into perspective, 2.5 grams, not micrograms, but 2.5 grams of salt equals half a teaspoon. Now imagine something that's 1,000 times smaller than half a teaspoon. That's the amount of vitamin B12 you need per day. If that doesn't make sense, go back, watch it again, because it is just... But if you guys want to dive in a little bit more into the topic of vitamin B12, I made a whole video on it, which you guys can find in the description down below. And I also did some other interviews with Dr. Mills on omega-3s and carbohydrates. Let me know if you guys want more interviews with Dr. Milton Mills or any other vegan practitioner, and I'll make it happen. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.